And we need the children's blood to keep the gallery open. There's a big secret. We go to this park all the time and we get the kids and we put them in the trunk. And they scream and cry. We drive around the corner and stab them in the trunk, stab them, and they shut up. And we take them out for ice cream. We go to Carvel after that. They love that shit. They don't give a fuck what we do. We totally abuse the shit out of them. Take them to Carvel. They don't care. They don't care. The gallery's been around for almost 4 years now.
When we first opened MF Gallery, New York was definitely lacking in this kind of art gallery, which I guess some people call it lowbrow art or underground pop art.
Collaborative effort, everything involved in the gallery was like 50-50, me and Martina, you know. Speaking of the devil, what's up, sweetie?
We put shows together, you know, we either pursue the artists or we go through submissions that people sent to us, and we usually have themed group shows, so we just kind of see what fits the theme, and we go crazy hanging it all for a couple of days, and then we have these big opening parties that are always a lot of fun.
Our major goal with the gallery is to show lesser known artists alongside bigger names in an effort to get them some exposure. Whereas when we were younger and really struggling a little bit outside of things, couldn't get any exposure. So we just wanted to be that doorway where it's someone's early opportunity to be a part of what they like doing, you know, and to work in that field. I guess I started off just drawing, you know what I mean? I used to have those loose leaf books with the lines going through them, and me and my friends would draw like fucking monster trucks, and He-Man was popular when I was a kid, so we'd always have these muscle dudes, monster trucks, swords, robots, shit like this, you know? Fucking planes. You know when you're a kid and you draw, I don't know if this is that common, but planes, and then you do like a big head sticking out of the top like the fucking guy's that big in the plane, you know what I mean? Like you do the big profile. That was a common thing. But from there, you know, from there to like sculpting and then acrylic paint, you know, mold making, you know, I don't know, it just kind of as further as I went with the drawing, I started to want to create things in another dimension. You know, sculpting is the obvious, you know, that was like a great door. When I started doing that and I realized I had a little bit of ability in that as well, I always thought that was completely different. And once I realized that what I could do with a pencil, I could do with clay, and I could do with this. And then when I just got to learn, you know, the properties of that medium, I was just so excited because I knew that like I just had to look at my watch and see how much time I'm going to be here because I'm going to be spending that much time making shit, you know what I mean? I dig it, you know, that's what I want to do. I grew up in Red Hook, Brooklyn, and I was adopted. I remember originally from Dallas, Texas, but I didn't know till I was like 22, and I had to get a passport, and so the passport was gonna say, you know, Dallas, Texas on it. So I guess my parents had to have a talk with me, like if I wasn't smart enough to fucking figure it out by then, you know. I remember people saying shit like, "You're adopted," and I was like, "Oh, you're a dick," you know. Like I thought they were just fucking with me, you know. But it turns out shit is true, you know. Pretty funny. Could be Manson, or fucking some serial killers, my father or something. I'm gonna snap one day, you know, go out and chop everybody up, you know. Remember these garbage cans that used to have the candy in them? This is an axle piece. It's this cool movie. Has nothing to do with me at all. I love it. It's like this storybooks that come with a record. I don't know if you remember. This Ben Cooper mask. Do you know that's multi-pot? A lot of people don't know, but you know, people have Moduloc. They think they're cool. Fuck you, dude. I have multi-pot. Rubber Freddy. I don't know if a lot of people have it. Maybe they do, but it's cool, and I'm glad I do. And I won't let it go. So don't ask. Brutal Bridget. Right? What's the other name, huh? I bet you don't know. Harry Carey. Grim Reaper Smurf, extremely unavailable in America. What are you doing here? I didn't have whatever, you know, everybody has problems in their home, you know. Sometimes people come from a heavy background. I'm sure a lot heavier than anything I've ever experienced. But it's good to have creativity as an outlet or as a doorway to another world where you could just kind of fantasize another reality other than the reality that you're in. And as a child, you know, that provided a big help to me to be able to create my own world, a place to escape to in my mind and of my own design. The stuff I would think would just be like, I had these characters and flying in this like space vehicle, blood smeared, you know, the savage fucking piercing the flesh, you know, of the animals, drinking the blood. A skeleton doing like a weird dance where his bones like separated and shit, and his head was spinning around. You had to see it, you know, and he turns around and he looks at me and his eyes were like black, and then his head splits open, like spiders start crawling out of his head, and these fucking big worms start coming out of his head, and they riveting into the ground, and he starts like transforming into all these like maggots, and pus is shooting out of him and shit. Total mutants, you know what I mean? Huge and strangely formed creatures who are just on a rampage to like thrash and party and shit, and they're like run out of rolling paper, and he rips the seat off the cushion off the car, and he rolls a doob in the fucking seat cushion, and they smoke the fucking, you know, chemical fumes